And a good evening. Welcome out to Little Woodrow's talking Cardinal football. The Lamar Cardinals coming off a nice 24-17 win over Nichols this past Saturday afternoon out at the Provost Humphrey Stadium. We're going to be here until 8 o'clock at the Astros game going in the background. Come on out and enjoy the atmosphere with the Coach Morgan Show and, of course, with the Astros game going on as we speak. Coach, 24-17. A much-needed, nice win for the club.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just a complete win, a team win. Offense, defense, both played extremely well, scored on defense, of course, and then, our punter punted the ball and flipped the field a couple times and knocked him down field position-wise. I thought he did an excellent job, and just a complete, finally played that complete game. We've been talking about it, the elusive four-quarter game for a long time, and we finally did it, and hopefully we can build on it this coming week.
You had a lead at halftime. Let's see, 14-3 at halftime. What did you talk about in the locker room going in with that lead?
Well, it was kind of a new feeling. So I mean, as was the end of the game and winning. It's just been so elusive, and it's been a while since we've done it. So you just go in and you talk about finishing, and we do that in practice throughout the week. Like today on Wednesday, what we do is, we have the first quarter, and we hadn't been playing really well in the third quarter, especially on offense. We've only scored like 13 points all year, and so you work on that. And then I thought, maybe the turning point in the game was they go down and score. I think it was the first drive of the second half, and then on offense, we answered that score, and so that was certainly a momentum change. It could have flipped the momentum to Nichols, and we answered that score.
In the second quarter, you get the pick six, and King runs that back, 55-yard interception. That had to be pretty sweet because it comes down the sideline, and then he made a nice move to the middle of the field to get into the end zone.
Yeah, the awesome thing is I look up in practice last week, and I see him breaking on a ball and picking, and he's a kid that came from the DFW area, a really good program, Garland High School, and he had great ball skills and played some receiver in high school, and he did it in practice during the week, and he's had some bumps in the road this fall. So to see him do that, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, we just needed that. We needed the ball to bounce our way, and really he grabbed the bull by the horns.
When you talk about turnovers on Saturday, 0.
Yeah. I mean, just that's such a huge part of the brand of football that we're playing right now is taking care of the football and getting turnovers and and winning special teams. I mean, it's that's kind of an old school way to win, and that's where we're at right now and how we have to play to win.
The atmosphere in the locker room, just talk about that because it's been a long time coming. This team, not hiding anything. Had been on that streak of non-wins, and just finally get that win. And it had to be just great for those young kids in the locker room.
Yeah, everybody on our team, they know. They knew what we've been capable of, and at times during the season we had hit. Certain, the offense had played well at times, the defense had played well, and special teams had been intermittent, but we played pretty well on special teams for the most part. The atmosphere is incredible. I mean, it is just so fun to celebrate with our team, with our staff, and just everybody's worked so hard. I mean, it's awesome just to see the fruits of your labor just for one game, and then hopefully it's something. Once you break the rock, we talked about breaking the rock all week. You got to hammer, and it took us 7 games to hammer it, and it finally cracked. And so, hopefully now that the rock's broken open, we can ride the wave and keep the momentum going.
344 yards total offense with 267 coming on the ground. Nearly half of that from Kalen Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, just what a awesome get in the offseason. He's had some ups and downs this fall, and has really had an attitude set. He's changed his mindset, and I love the way he's running the ball. He's very physical. He's downhill, and he runs with some power, and he's a fun guy to watch.
60 yards rushing for R.J. Carver, a different style running back. Major Bowden had 25 yards rushing, but he also is good for you out of the backfield to catch a football. He's a kickoff return guy. But when you look at your running backs, and you do use with the runners, we talk about Kalen, RJ, Major, of course, Demaje. Just a good combination of running backs.
Yeah, you've got, Kalen's kind of the combination guy, and he's probably 210 pounds. He can get around the edge. He's fast enough, but he's a downhill runner. RJ's just a bull in a china shop. I think that's how you would say that. And then Major's, he's going to be a little bit more elusive, and he's got great hands out of the backfield. Demaje is kind of he was injured last week.
Right.
We're hoping to have him back on Saturday, but he's kind of freaky athletic, honestly. I mean, he's 6'1", he's 210 pounds, and when he touches it, as you saw in the Houston Christian game, he can take it the distance. So.
Well, he did a 35-yard run at the 12-10 mark of the third quarter for a score.
Oh, that was not this week.
Yeah, right here.
I'm sorry.
On the scoring drive.
Kalen Griffin?
Yeah, 35 yards.
Oh, I was talking about Demaje.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Demaje.
Okay.
Yeah, so Demaje was out this last week. But,
right.
But, yeah, Kalen had an awesome game.
Yeah, he had the 100. Yeah, you're right. He had the 100-yard kickoff return.
Yeah.
Your quarterback play with Michael, and he went the distance from start to finish. And
what he's done what we've asked him to do, and what we've done the last couple of weeks has been a little bit more conservative. And then, like on third down, those were huge conversions on third down. He knew exactly where to go with the ball. He's been decisive. And as we wind down the season, these next few games, we're going to ask him to do a little bit more. And we kind of know what his strengths are, and we're gonna ride those.
You look at the kind of leader he is. He's on the football team as a freshman, a 3-year freshman. But I'll notice that while the defense is on the field, the offensive guys are down on the bench. They're together. They're talking amongst one another. So I like the communication about them even taking the offense to the sideline.
I just think, and people don't get a chance to see this, but the growth of our team and he's the prime example. He's a guy that maybe early in the year and in fall camp may have not been as coachable, but he's grown into that. He's become a very coachable player. Mm-hmm. He's become a player that encourages other people, which he wouldn't have thought about really early in the season. And so I love seeing his growth. I love seeing, and that kind of parallels our team. Just a remarkably young team, but I think what you saw on Saturday is us starting to mature and grow.
You seem to double tight end a little bit more, unless I just wasn't paying attention early on.
Yeah.
I see you using a tight end more often now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll use 11 personnel, which is one tight end and one back, 12 personnel, two tight ends and one back. And we're going to be multiple. We're multiple with our sets and motions, and we're going to try to make a team play the entire field and take advantage of what they give us. And they let us run the ball. Hey, we're gonna take advantage of it, which we did on Saturday. And at a certain point, they're going to have to step up in the box, and then we'll take advantage and take some shots down the field.
You look at Jalen Dume, one catch, 15 yards, but he does so much on that field for you. You'll bring him in motion. As much as a contributor he is on the field, he's also a distraction on the field.
Yeah, and I pointed him out to our team this week because those receivers, all those guys want to catch balls.
Right.
And, we've had points in the season where we've thrown for 250, 300 yards, and when they don't catch balls, a guy like Jalen Dume, Kendon Fusler is blocking. If you watch the tape, that guy blocks his tail off. I mean, he is so – and that just goes – that's team.
Yeah.
There are going to be some weeks they catch a bunch of balls. There will be other weeks they got to go block in, and that's awesome. It's awesome to see. It just is an unselfishness, and that's what those receivers have stepped into because they want to win. They want to do anything that it takes to win, and on Saturday that's what they did.
Before we get our first break in, we'll talk about Ken a little bit. Of course, here on KLVI, we cover Nederland High School football, so I watched him for 4 years at Nederland. Is he improving week by week? And then let's go hand in hand with our other local product, Andre Dennis out of Westbrook. Are both those true freshmen opening your eyes and maybe from what you thought coming in?
Yeah, I mean, much more so, honestly. I mean, just very, and I talked about this before, their coaches in high school did a tremendous job on their football IQ. Their route running is tremendous coming into our program, and they've really built on that. And they're two guys that college football is a little bit faster speed, and those guys play with tremendous speed. I mean, for first-year guys, Kenan had a huge catch
on the third down.
Third down on the dig, and Andre, I don't know if you noticed him, but he is the first guy down on kickoff. Mm-hmm. He's playing on all our special teams. I mean, just really contributing in a great way to this team.
We are talking Lamar University football. We are at Little Woodrow's in the Culinary Shopping Center. Come on by. We're going to be here till the top of the hour. Get the Astros going. No score in the bottom of the first in Game 4 of the Fall Classic. Coming up next, we continue with the Coach Blane Morgan Show on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann back with you here at Little Woodrow's, the Culinary Shopping Center, Phelan Boulevard in Beaumont. Invite you out here each Wednesday night from 7 until 8 for the Coach Blane Morgan Show, talking Cardinals football. Cardinals coming off that first win of the year, 24-17 win over Nichols out of Provost Humphrey Stadium, getting ready to wrap up the home portion of the schedule Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Get out there, support your Cardinals, your last chance to see them in 2022 before closing out the season at New Mexico State and at McNeese State. Welcoming quarterback coach Jackson Escura to the show. Jackson, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Just tell us a bit about your background, where you grew up, and your path before you got to Lamar University.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Go Vikings?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Grew up in the cold up there, and then when I was about 18, decided to get out of the cold, went to the sunshine in San Diego, and that's where I eventually crossed paths with Coach Morgan. Was an Aztec out there for about 7 years before coming to Lamar with him.
Did you play ball out there? Did you just go to school there and get involved in the program?
Yeah, so I started as a student assistant.
Okay.
Worked my way up doing that, and then I was a GA for 3 years, so total 7 years working in the program. And then Coach brought me with, yeah.
What made you decide to get into coaching? I mean, just the love of football?
Yeah, my dad's a high school football coach, so I grew up in the locker room. And
what is it with him hiring all these high school football coaches' kids? I think it's great.
Yeah, you find that a lot in the profession, you know.
Is it tough? And I asked Marshall Mann this last week, and I've asked a few other coaches who were coaches' kids. Mm-hmm. Was that tough playing for your dad, or was he coach at home? Was he dad at home? Was he a little bit of both?
Probably a little bit of both. I played quarterback for him, so when they're, yelling at you guys from the stands, you don't know who they're yelling at, but you know the same name. So, but it was a great experience. He coached Little League sports and stuff too, so I was always in that environment with him, and then he was able to turn it off at home and just be dad. So, really enjoyed that though. It was special.
Again, you mentioned the Minneapolis, and then ended up in San Diego. Now here in Beaumont, the quarterback coach. Got some good talent and young talent, at quarterback. When you look at, we've got, Chandler, Longino, Yaki. So you've got a good selection of kids to choose from.
Absolutely. Those guys are coming along great, too. There's been a lot of development in the room, and Mike's doing a good job right now. Did a good job last week in that win, and excited about Gino, as we call him, and where he's coming, and Yaki's done a good job stepping in there when we've needed him.
Had a crazy play last week, again visiting with Jackson Escurca, the quarterback's coach here at Lamar University. Had a play where, Gino goes running out there, and then you have to call a timeout, and you come over, the mic goes out there, What happened?
We had an equipment malfunction, and so we were trying to get that sorted out, and then, we had to burn one at that point, but we got it sorted out. Yeah.
What was the feeling like to watch that clock click down to zeros, get that first win of the year? We have the analogy, and I've talked to Coach Morgan about this and some of your fellow coaches. coming in, this year, last year, you got to crawl before you walk, walk before you run, and you finally get that first taste of a conference victory.
Yeah.
How sweet was that?
Oh, it was awesome. And I was just excited for the kids, getting back in the locker room with those guys, coming up in the box, so I don't get to see them all game, and just seeing how excited they were and how happy they were. I mean, they've worked their tails off and really deserved that.
As a quarterback coach, we've got Mike out there, Michael Chandler. Mike is 6 out of 13. 77 yards passing, long one 25. But what I like about his stat, 6 out of 13, 0. He did not turn the ball over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we talk about all the time in the room, taking care of it, making smart decisions with the ball, using your feet to get out of jams when he needs to, whatever the game calls for. Ran for a good chunk there, too, running the option stuff that we do, so contributing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, 38 yards rushing to go with the 77-yard passes, and 2 of the 6 completions on one drive Cardinals get in the end zone with were third down.
Absolutely.
And that's extending drives.
Absolutely.
And that shows a lot how he's maturing as a quarterback week by week, because he'll now get out of the pocket and then find those receivers to extend drives.
Absolutely. And that's a credit to the work he's put in. I mean, he's identified that in himself, and we talk about it all the time, and to see him go make those plays when we need him the most, that's been awesome.
Southeastern Louisiana coming to town on a Saturday. When you look at their secondary, what do you see preparing Mike and even the receivers for this game?
Yeah, I think it's a really talented group that we're going up against, and have done a really good job in conference play, especially at the corner position, long, physical guys at the safety spot. But a lot of the coverage structures and stuff that they're going to be playing, we see during fall camp from our defense all the time, week in and week out. So a lot of familiarity there with the structures, but talented guys. It's going to be a challenge.
You mentioned Minneapolis, so as we wrap this up again, I got to throw this out there. My dad was born and raised in Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah.
I lived there for, I was like 3 years old for a few months. So I bleed purple, when it comes to the NFL. You a Vikings fan?
Absolutely. Got T.J. Hawkinson the other day.
Love
Pretty
it.
fired up about that.
Yeah, I'm fired up about getting that receiver. High school football in the state of Minnesota. You've been in Southern California and now here in Southeast Texas. I guess it's just the thought, I guess, is it's not that big up there. Is high school football pretty big up in Minnesota?
Yeah, it is. And I think, it's never going to be like it is in Texas, because that's how they love it down here is unmatched. Minnesota's the state of hockey, but strong football following. My dad's going for a big district championship playoff game this Saturday. They'll have a good crowd out there. Got to get it done a little bit before the cold comes in, so season goes a little faster. But they do love football up there, and he's a diehard Gophers fan. We grew up going to Gophers games, season ticket holders. So yeah, absolutely.
Jackson, thank you so much for being on this evening's show. Congratulations on that big win over Nichols, 21-14 this past Saturday. Let's make it 2 in a row against Southeastern on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. Jackson Eskerka, the quarterbacks coach at Lamar University. Again, we're at Little Woodrose. We're back with Coach Blane Morgan on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann back with you here at Little Woodrose, along with Coach Blane Morgan. Talking Lamar football. Again, the Cardinals coming off that sweet win over Nichols, 24-17. Coach, just had Jackson Eskerka, your quarterback coach, on with us, and guess you guys go back a ways. Tell us a bit about Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson, he's got a tremendous story. He's a coach's kid as well, from Minnesota, and somehow ended up at San Diego State and worked his way up the program. Started off in the equipment and then started being a student coach. And then was my graduate assistant, at San Diego State. Did such a good job, and then just being a quarterback coach for the first time and managing that room and kind of everything that, some of the stories we have now of the guys that we've had come through the program in and out. He's done a tremendous job of just managing a quarterback room is hard enough, but what he's had to do, he's done a tremendous job.
He's a cool guy because he's a Vikings fan. So he's like my family's from Minnesota. So
our tight ends coach is Packers is from Wisconsin.
Oh, goodness.
So those guys go back and forth, and then of course you got all the Cowboy fans, on the staff. So we have a good time.
Jackson, you mentioned he's a coach's kid. He's one of a handful of guys you have on your staff that are sons of coaches, brothers of coaches. you like that because they grew up around it.
Yeah, I know what they've been through just from
being one yourself.
Right, just you're a kid and you're carrying water jugs and you're hanging around the guys and you kind of know you're around a coach, and so you've been around the game and you understand kind of the ins and outs of a meeting room and a team and the dynamics of that and really what good teams look like. And you know, he's done such a tremendous job of really our standard as a program. You know, each coach is expected to kind of uphold and kind of set that standard in their own room. And, you know, the more that you get that from your coaching staff and the better they are at doing that, then that makes a great team.
You know, it's something he's excited about, and you're excited as well, is the a group of quarterbacks you have, and they're young.
Yeah, and it just takes it's such a slow build at quarterback. You see the older guys, and you get into that fourth, you know, you get into that 12th, 13th, 14th game, and you start to see tremendous growth.
Yeah.
I mean, just and it clicks, and the game starts slowing down, and when you have an experienced quarterback, that's when you'll start winning at a greater tick.
Now on game day, what does a quarterback, his assignment? You know, I mean, does he not does he call plays?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
What's his daily assignment?
Yeah, so
game day.
our offense is the quarterback's got to have a pretty varied skill set, you know, because we're going to run him, we're going to run some option, but we're also going to throw on the run, and then we're going to drop back and throw a quick game. And so there are some plays where he has to check the protection, so he has to see the front. He has to check the protection. Then he has to see the coverage and decide whether it's a 2-high safety, he's going to go to one side, or if it's a 1-high safety, he's going to the other side. So as he gets up to the line of scrimmage, in those 10 seconds, he's got to see the front, check the protection, make sure that, you know, he's protected in his drop, trust the protection, see the coverage, and get the ball off the right read.
So there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, that's just really the drop back game, and then there's the option game. It's now you've got a read, you've got a pitch key, you know, and then you got to go run the ball a little bit. And so we're looking for a pretty special guy, you know, at quarterback, and I think you know, the more multiple we can be, and the more we can stretch the field and attack different zones, the better we can be on offense.
Talking with Coach Blane Morgan. Let's talk about your coaching staff, and fortunately you bring one by a week to visit with us so we can learn a bit about their background and we can learn about their position. Now, who's upstairs, who's downstairs? How's that determined?
Yeah, so you know, in most cases on most teams like ours, our offensive coordinator and O-line coach, you know, Patrick Covington, is down. So after every single drive, he and I are having a conversation. On defense, really our defensive coordinator, Coach Weichert, and then our secondary coach, Coach Cordova, are down. So in between drives, you know, we're talking with each of our units. I usually just stay on the sideline so I can watch the entire game. Up in the box, you know, you on offense, you usually have someone watching the front, you know, from a top-down perspective to see kind of what shades they're in.
Right.
Then you've got someone watching, you know, Coach Eskerka is up in the box watching the back half, so watching the secondary, you know, and really what the quarterback is doing, and that's on offense. On defense, you know, Marshall Mann is up there watching, you know, the back half and the secondary and the route combinations. And then Coach Godney, our defensive line coach, is up there watching the fronts.
Excuse me now. They obviously communicate with you down on the sideline. How close to the snap are they talking to you? For instance, do they look, I mean, on the play clock?
Most drives, I mean, it's pretty one-sided, so it's pretty fluid. And we've got a rhythm. So, for example, on a given drive, we'll every single down and distance and hash, Coach Eskerka has given me that. And then, you know, I'll ask on third down. He's kind of does a lot of our passing games, so I'll ask him, hey, what do you like coming up here if we get a third medium? And he'll have an idea, and I'll either take it or I'll do something different. Same thing with Coach Covington with a run. So it's really a team operation on the offense. And then on the defense, you know, they've got their own thing going.
You obviously head coach on the sideline. You've got the offensive background. You played quarterback in high school. You played quarterback at Air Force Academy. You've been a quarterback coach. Do you stick your mind and thoughts into the defense at all during a game, or do you just leave that up to your DC?
During a game, I'm all in really offense and special teams, and so I sit in on every special teams meeting. I just think that's such a vital part of the team. I sit in on all the team special teams meetings. I sit in on every coach's special team meeting, and usually I try to have some input personnel-wise, because I kind of know the makeup of the team. I see both sides. I know the personnel, and so that's a fun part for me that I've never been able to really be a part of. Because when you're the quarterback coach, all you're doing is you're with the quarterbacks all the time. When you're doing special teams, you're with the quarterbacks. When they're doing anything else, you're with the quarterbacks, and so that's been fun just to be a part of the, try to be, have some input on the special teams.
Your personality, I'm gonna probably say Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because people that see he's laid back, he's quiet, I go, watch him on the sideline. Boy, you're all over the place. During a play on offense, you might be down a few yards looking at it at an angle.
Yeah, I'm usually behind the play, so I can see kind of what the defense is doing, and really, I think I was such a huge follower of Bill Walsh and kind of his coaching philosophies back in the day, and my quarterback coach in high school was kind of a protege from afar of Bill Walsh and his offense, and so that was one of the things he talked about as a play caller. You want to separate yourself from the emotion of the game and just try to be clear-minded. And what's been fun this year is actually we've got, we're so much better up front, and we've been able to move the ball, we've been able to score a few more points. So it makes it a little bit easier to balance and call plays when you can do that a little bit better.
Do you still reach out to some of your mentors during the week?
I do from time to time. There are a couple guys that I stay in constant contact with. Clay Hendricks at Furman University, they're having a great season, 7-2. Bobby Houck at Montana, we coached together for 4 years at San Diego State, and usually those are the two guys I pick up the phone. Troy Calhoun, of course, at Air Force. I'll pick his brain, and Jeff Horton, who took back over the reins as the offense coordinator at San Diego State. He's been a tremendous mentor of mine. So I've got guys, kind of at the end of my phone that have got wisdom beyond their years.
We're talking with Coach Blane Morgan. We're talking Lamar University football. Once again, the Cardinals with a 21-14 win over Nichols this past Saturday at Provost Humphrey Stadium, getting ready to take on Southeastern Louisiana. The Lions come to town Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, final home game of the year. Get out and support your Cardinals. We're back at Little Woodrow's on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann along with Coach Blane Morgan out at Little Woodrow's talking Lamar University football. Watching the Astros in the background, and in case you're out driving, it's no score in the bottom half of the second inning with one on. Did you play baseball all growing up?
I did. I didn't. My dad was a coach, so he didn't want me playing Little League in the summer. He wanted to go on some vacation, so started playing in 7th grade and played 3 years in high school.
Did you like it? What position?
Yeah, I was played a little catcher growing up, and then moved to the outfield, kind of a DH in high school. And when you don't really grow up playing, there's so many little skill sets in baseball that, running bases and all the things when you play a lot, you kind of pick up on.
It's like a year-round sport now.
It has now.
With the special selected and all that, but
I think a lot of the best guys. You look at Aaron Judge, he's a 3-sport guy, and
he could be playing NFL right now.
Yeah, he could be doing a lot of things.
Yeah. Talking about the multiple sport guys, and I think the best crossover, because you do have a lot of crossover sports, and you touched on what you just did. I think a lot of skill positions, primarily, and I'm going to single you out because you played quarterback in high school. I think a lot of high school quarterbacks, you see them play baseball, and they're good baseball players.
Yeah, baseball.
Athletic,
And what when we were running a lot of option at Air Force, we always liked those point guards, guys that one of our best players, the winningest quarterback, in Air Force Academy history, we brought in a point guard so we knew he could distribute the ball and ended up being a tremendous option quarterback. And a guy, the Aaron King, who had the pick 6 on Saturday.
Yeah.
I went and watched him play a basketball game last spring, or I'm sorry, whenever basketball season was. And he was a very good defender. Wasn't really a slasher and a scorer, but good, really solid basketball team he played on.
24-17 over Nichols. We talked about the offense, but defensively, you had guys, Tyler Jackson, Caleb Arnold, 16 and 13 tackles respectively. Tyler gets 16, Caleb gets 13. Gocher had Blake had 8, and Jalen Freeman had 8. So you had some of those guys going after that football.
Yeah, they decided that they wanted to run the football and try to control the clock, and our guys were up for it. I thought we were so much better fitting gaps and runs, and there wasn't a whole. If you look at their yards per carry, compared to how we rushed the ball, I think much lower, and our guys did a good job of bottling up really an older offensive line and a senior running back that I think had rushed for 3,000 yards during his career there at Nichols.
He ended up with 99, so you kept him under 100.
Yeah, I mean, what a tremendous jump from the previous week and stopping the run, and then trying to really limiting the explosive plays.
You look at someone like Tyler Jackson. I really like watching him. Caleb Arnold, but one kid that I really like to watch. He had 8 tackles and he brings so much to your defense is Blake Gocher. I mean, I think Blake he's all over the place.
Yeah, those linebackers, he is one of those guys that he eats, breathes, and sleeps football. And he's got to go to class and all that, but he is one of those guys that he is just a football junkie and just loves playing football, and you just love having those guys on your team. I mean, he's a throwback linebacker is what throwback inside backer. But and he walked on. He was a walk-on from up in Frisco. Lone Star, really good program up in DFW, and
so he got to play his high school football inside.
Yeah, I think they played at the Star, the Cowboys practice complex. They played like 5 of their 10 regular season games at the Star. So
must be nice to play high school football in Frisco.
Yeah, not a bad deal.
Some of the kids you mentioned, a walk-on. Do some of these walk-ons, do they have a chance to earn scholarships?
Yeah, he did. So Blake walked on, and then this last spring we put him on scholarship. Tyler Jackson was a guy that was a walk-on early in his career, and he earned his scholarship as well. Jalen Freeman. So 3 of those guys were previous walk-ons that we have given scholarships, and I think right now we're up to like 22 guys that had come to Lamar University as walk-ons that we've elevated and given scholarships to.
Growing up a Nebraska fan, I love that because Nebraska did that for years, and it really says a lot when you offer a kid maybe a preferred walk-on or whatever, that if they come here and perform, they have a chance to earn a scholarship. And one kid I want to point out in particular, and I'm going to slap myself on the back of the head because I'm blanking out, when he did the YouTube video a few years ago. You had the young man that worked at Buffalo Wild Wings till 11 o'clock at night, and he's in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, and that was a pretty cool deal. I was surprised that he was a scholarship.
Caleb Williams, he's on our team. He's back on our team as a D lineman. He was one of those 2. Dawood Shorts was the other.
Dawood
was the other guy, but Caleb Williams was the other guy in that video that got like 21 million views or something crazy like that. But that's fun. That's fun when you can give those scholarships away, and those walk-on spots we treat as scholarship. We work really. Our coaches have done a great job of identifying and evaluating kids that we feel like are scholarship caliber guys, and then convincing them to come and walk on. And Kendon Fusler is another one of those guys that maybe was a little bit under the radar. They saw his stature or whatever. The kid, he's a flat-out football player. I mean, he's going to be a really good player for us.
And what I like going back to Dawood was when you made that announcement with your 2 kids on that video, the excitement of their teammates, and it's legit. It's genuine how excited they are for their teammate.
They are. Whenever you can give kids that are paying for their school and make their day and make their I can't tell you how grateful like Jalen Freeman was this spring and Blake Gocher. I mean, when we put them on scholarship this spring, and a guy, Savon Ray, came as a walk-on. So player after player, I can name that are making huge impact on our team. Came to us as walk-ons.
I mean, you got to set one of your kids up somehow this year. I think one of my favorite, it was a basketball player. They go into the conference in the team meeting room. They have the security campus.
We did it. I don't know how it didn't go viral.
You did that as well?
Yeah, we did it. So our campus police released the video footage. We had them come into a team meeting. And when we gave it to Tyler Jackson, say, is Tyler Jackson in here?
Yeah.
And then
that's
I don't know where that is, but it was out, and I thought it was cooler than the other one, the Buffalo Wild Wings one. But anyway,
I saw
we tried to do that.
Yeah.
I just think it's do something cool, do something fun like that.
Because the kid thought he was in trouble. Like, you need to come with us to compliance. That's pretty neat. All right, we got to get our final break in. When we come back out at Little Woodrow's, we'll talk more about Saturday's final home game of the year against Southeastern Louisiana. It's the Coach Blane Morgan Show. Little Woodrow's on News Talk 560 KLVI. Winding down the Coach Blane Morgan Show. Harold Mann with you along with Coach Morgan, talking Lamar University football. About 5 minutes to go into the show before we get out of here and get ready for Southeastern Louisiana. The Lions coming in. Not a lot of them, but you're going to be recognizing some seniors before the game.
Yeah, just what a group. I mean, a group that trusted us and came in. Jalen Dumais was one of our first recruits when we had no quarterbacks on campus. He came in and, filled that role for a while. And a guy like Hunter Batten that's been such a great example for our guys. We're going to recognize.
Boy, is he a competitor?
Yeah, he's just an even better person and kid. He's like 24. Austin Goffney played with us. Been hurt all year for the most part, and Tyler Jackson, we're recognizing him. So really small group. Which you look at the future and how many guys we're going to get into the third year in the program, and it's there's a lot to look forward to.
Are we starting to get caught up on what classification players are? Because I see this Monday during your weekly presser. There's some kids, okay, he may be a sophomore in the field, a senior academically, he may have a year left. Are we going to sooner or later get balanced out?
Well, we took so many guys during or before COVID that they might be sophomores or juniors, and really our first class is the one that they're going to get that extra year. So you have sophomores that are in their third year, but they all played.
Right.
And so naturally, if you had the program where you wanted it, they would be redshirting anyway. And so you won't have too many out of balance. Really the thing we're gonna have to counterbalance is how many kids we have in certain classes, because we took so many high school players and they've just they stayed with the program. They're growing up and they just don't grow up fast enough.
Is that still the philosophy? Go after the high school kids and develop them?
Well, we'll see. We just got to get older. I mean, so we're going to have to go this off season and get some junior college, and we did this last off season. You look at our guys, Alfonso, Chris Escada, Kalen Griffin, Pius Ninji, and you don't call his name a lot, but we went and grabbed him as a D lineman. We've got a couple other D linemen, one that came from Houston and then Kansas State. He's just now starting to see the field. So yeah, we feel the need, and I see it, and I wanted to get, I thought we could get better high school players and develop them, but at a certain point you got to go, you got to get older, and you got to move the program forward.
I know I've asked you this before, and for those that might just be tuning in for the first time, early signing for eons. You waited till that first week of February. Now it's in December. You have an early signing period. Do you like that?
I do. Just if you're with us, come on, let's sign. And
that we could get them in some cases that semester.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can. In certain cases, guys that finish up their eligibility, they can come in. We haven't had too many of those kids. I don't like it, honestly, because I remember my senior year in the spring, and just it was one of the best semesters of your life, and so many memories. So I frown upon that a little bit. If you got a quarterback, certainly that would be good, and yeah, we're gonna be pretty aggressive and going after some guys, and we're doing that. Hopefully we can get a few guys in here in December.
Final home game of the year. We got about a minute to go here. What's this mean for those few seniors you're gonna send out there?
Yeah, just everything, them trusting us and coming in and really being foundational members for the program. I mean, they're the foundation. Jalen Dumais, just selfless and a workhorse, and Hunter Batten and Tyler Jackson, and I'm missing Luke Wallace, our deep snapper. What an incredible kid. I mean, just awesome. And Jack McCarthy is a guy that we're going to recognize. He's graduating. He's a guy that we took in our first class.
And he also, you had him over in Lake Charles for media days.
Yeah, and he epitomizes our program. 4.0 student. I mean, just a great kid, and he's got a great job opportunity. So to go, be a professional.
All right, Coach, got to get out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff against Southeastern Louisiana.
All right, go Cards.
Coach Blane Morgan, that's going to about wrap it up from Little Woodrose. The Cardinals, Southeastern Louisiana, coming up Saturday afternoon, 2:30 airtime, 3 o'clock kickoff. Again, for Coach Morgan, thanks to Chelsea back in the studio. Thanks, Andrew from Lamar Video. We're out at News Talk Radio, KLVI.